Hello, 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 and welcome to the Reclaim Your Life podcast with me, Vicky Igbokwe-Ozoagu, your colossal connections coach, supporting you to kickstart the habit of putting you first. Tiki tiki tiki, tiki tiki tiki, tiki tiki tiki, Oh, that one was a bit low and deep this morning. Okay, so today I would love for us to talk about speaking your truth. Yes, did you hear me? Speaking your truth. And this episode is inspired by a personal experience where I had to confront my fears and speak up. Even with the discomfort that I felt, I needed to speak up. My voice shook and my heart raced, but I knew I had to do it. And in the end, despite the initial resistance from the people that were receiving me speak my truth, it led to a breakthrough. It actually led to a series of breakthroughs that benefited everyone that was a part of this group, everyone that was involved. So I want to share this with you to help you find your voice and courage within you so you too can speak your truth as well. All right. So when we're talking about and thinking about the power of speaking your truth, when you feel vulnerable and scared, it is a sign that something important to you is at stake, right? When you feel scared, when you feel vulnerable, when you're like, oh, I have this feeling inside and I want to share, or I'm experiencing this relationship, whether that's a friendship or a romantic relationship or a work relationship, whatever kind of relationship, when you're experiencing it and it's not really working, and you know you want to say something, but you don't because you feel vulnerable and scared, it's because it's important to you. Something important is at stake. It's also a sign that you are about to step outside of your comfort zone. Yeah. And experience something that requires you, that needs you to put yourself first, which I know can feel challenging for you, right? Because for the most part, you're used to putting others before yourself. So again, when you are in this relationship or in this environment or in a space or witnessing something that doesn't sit right with you, the thought of speaking your truth just goes, oh no, I can't, I can't, I can't, I can't. But the thing that I was reminded of in my personal story that I experienced and that I really want to remind you of is embracing this vulnerability can and will lead to tremendous growth in all areas of your life, both professionally and personally. And a lot of the time, that growth that you get from embracing this vulnerability to speak your truth, it doesn't only impact you. Yes, many times it will also impact in the most positive way, irrespective of how they receive it to start with. It will impact the person or the people that you are speaking to or that are involved as well. Speaking your truth is also an act of self-care and self-love. It is about honoring your needs, wants, and desires while you put you first. Now, I will be the first to say it is not always easy. However, it's definitely essential for your well-being and creating harmony, peace, love, joy, laughter, success in your life. And that is why, as the Colossal Connections coach, as your coach, I will always advocate and support you in speaking your truth. Now, we both know, yeah, I feel like you know this. It's common to feel fear and doubt when thinking about, when contemplating whether to speak up. Because, let's be real, you might be worrying about disrupting the energy in the space or in the room or the dynamic within the team or family, for example. You might be thinking about, oh, how you're speaking your truth is going to make someone else uncomfortable. You might fear rocking the boat, and you might even be fearing rejection, right? Because there is a risk, in quotation marks, that when you speak your truth, the person or the people receiving it may not see your perspective. And that might mean the end of a working relationship or a romantic relationship or a shift in a family dynamic. I, however, will always encourage you to speak your truth because I know firsthand, and I know through the clients that I support, that staying silent can cause more harm and distress in the long run to you and actually those around you as well. Staying silent for me is not the answer. Exploring conversations and conversations that you may need to have a few times. Again, whilst I know it's challenging and it can be hard, that is the way to go. So what I want to do is just share 5 strategies with you to help you, to support you, to empower you to find your courage to speak your truth, to speak your truth. So the first one is acknowledge your fear, right? Because it's there. I wish I could tell you you could do this and not have any fear. No, 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 no. But that's what courage is all about. Yes. It's about speaking up. It's about doing the thing, even with a little bit of fear being inside you, right? So I want you to recognize that fear is a natural response because what you're about to do or say or ask or share is requiring, again, like I said earlier, you to step out of your comfort zone. And also, you're human. You're going to be fearful. You're going to have that. But what I don't want is the fear to paralyze you, to keep you stuck, especially when we both know that you speaking your truth is not helping you and it is harming you and causing you distress. Okay, so number 1, acknowledge your fear. It is okay to feel scared. Number 2 is I want you to prepare mentally. So I want you to think about what you want to say and why it's important. And if you need to, write it down, draw it, doodle it. And again, this is something I have done and still do to get my thoughts across, to be clear on what it is I want to say, and also why it's important for me to say it. Okay. So prepare mentally and write things down if you need to. Number 3, start small. Okay, start small. So practice speaking up in less intimidating situations to build your confidence. So if you're wanting to have a conversation with your boss or a line manager or a fellow artist that you're working with, or someone that in your head is just like, oh, I can't do this. Figure out where you can have less intimidating conversations where you get to practice speaking up. So maybe it's with, a friend of yours, where you go, actually, I really don't like it when you do X. Because with that friend, they're going to be able to take it, right? So practice. There is no shame in practicing. Get in front of a mirror. I have done this actually a few times. Actually, I said a few times. I do it quite a lot. I will practice in the mirror. Again, there is no shame in your practice game. Okay, because a lot of the time as well with speaking your truth, the shakes and the fear also comes from not having done this before, not having done it many times. So practice, practice, practice. Okay, so start small. Number 4, seek support, find support. Surround yourself with people who encourage and support you in speaking your truth. So again, you may, in a similar way where I've said like just before, start small, practice. You may also have 1 or 2 people that you just go, look, I want to have this conversation with this person. Can you just hear me say the things that I want to say? And they also be able to give you feedback. And again, if you've chosen the right people, that feedback will be about encouragement. Okay. Because again, remember, there's a reason why you are having the thought in your head, the feeling in your heart, the funky energy in your soul and spirit. So those are all of the signs that are telling you that you need to speak your truth, that you need to get this out. But finding a couple of people, 1 or 2 people that can support you to just go, yeah, that's great. Yes, exactly. That's what you want to say. Say it. And number 5 is stay persistent. Now, this is a key thing. I don't want you to think that I'm saying you speak your truth once and then it's all rectified. There are some instances when that happens, but that doesn't happen all the time. So know that you might be starting a long game with this particular person or group, relationship, team, whatever the scenario may be. So know that it will require you to stay persistent if you have the energy and the bandwidth to do this. Because even if the initial response is not positive, I want you to know that I am encouraging and inviting you to keep going because your truth matters. And also, you might be shining a light on a situation, a scenario, a theme, a way of working, a way of communicating with an individual or a group of people that have never, ever even had to think about that thing. Like it's not part of their lived experience, as an example. Now, I know it's taxing, and that's why having a support group or a support person somewhere that you can, somewhere or someone where that you can lean on is really important. But I definitely, really need you to understand that this might take a little bit of time and it will be worth it. Okay. So my scenario, I'm not going to go into all of the detail and name names, but my scenario was I was working with a team of people, different roles, and for the best part of 2 years, things were not as they could be. And you could just, you look and you go, oh, we could be doing, look at what we're already doing as a group of people. But if we just addressed and fixed some things, oh, the sky would be the limit. So that's the first thing, right? For my scenario, this was over 2 years. Now, I hope and pray that you don't have to experience that level of time, that length of time, but that was mine. And I decided to call a meeting and I shared my truth, and I had thought about what I wanted to say, and I had written down just like bullet point notes. And sadly, initially, what I was saying, my truth was met with lots of defensive words, including being told that I was attacking said people and a really aggressive body language. But it was so important to me to get this out And because this had been going on for the best part of 2 years, I held on to my truth. And within the space that I was speaking, I also had 3 other people in there that were supporting me as well. So I kept going. And, that meeting finished. It wasn't the greatest. I did feel better for sharing. And I kind of let a few days pass and I went back to the two main individuals, and I wasn't seeing them again. So I sent a voice note. And I sent a voice note because I think sometimes when you write, it leaves so much interpretation for emotion. So I sent a voice note so they could at least hear my tone and intonation and my pauses and, all of that stuff. And in that voice note, I reiterated like what I shared in the meeting and why I shared it. And basically, my truth was because I really believe in the work that we're doing. And I actually really like everyone in this group. And that it's because I care so much that I have been persistent in coming back to this conversation, because I want us as a team of people, as a group of people, to win, not just for us, but for the people that we're serving, for the people that we're working with, for the people that we're giving opportunities to. And I sent those 2 voice notes. I said a few prayers and was like, please, I really hope that, after having that meeting and then getting these voice notes, they can appreciate where I'm coming from. And thankfully, they did. I received apologies, and one person called me back, so we were able to have a conversation, and they were able to share their truth and apologize for the way they had initially responded. And they had had some time to go away and reflect and realize that, yeah, the way they responded was not cool, to put it bluntly. And also, though, they were able to figure out actually what was truly behind their response and share that with me. And I was able to receive that. And the other person, we went back and forth on voice notes, but again, apologies, recognizing where they could do better and how we could just have different kinds of conversations. And, till today, we're still reaping, all of us are still reaping the benefits of having that conversation. And again, I want to let you know that this wasn't the first conversation like this. This was maybe like the 5th or 6th time that I was revisiting this conversation. Yes, it is emotionally taxing. I had support and I had people that I could go to, including one of my coaches, my husband, dearest, who just hears everything, and also some of the people within this group of people that could see what was happening, understood it, and also wanted there to be a resolve. So I just wanted to share that with you as a kind of personal moment for me. And now what I want you to do is I want to encourage you to reflect on a time when you needed to speak your truth but didn't. What was it that held you back? And how can you approach it differently next time? Because I'm sure there's at least one moment in your life where you've had a scenario that you wanted to speak your truth on and you didn't. So I want you to think back to that, and I want you to just note down a couple of reasons why you didn't. What held you back? And if you were going to revisit that, how could you approach it differently next time? All right, so I want you to take a moment to think about that and write it down. And then I want you to have that in your back pocket for the next time you have a scenario where everything in your being is telling you this is your time to speak your truth. And I would love for you to practice speaking it. Deep breath. Ooh, it's a lot today, isn't it? So before we part, I want to remind you of this. Your voice matters. Your voice matters. By speaking your truth, you're not just advocating for yourself, you're paving the way for others to do the same. You're modeling how you want to be treated as you treat others the same way. Remember, it's not always easy, but I do believe that it's worth it. From my experiences and the experiences of my clients, it is definitely worth it because you deserve to be heard. You deserve to be seen. You deserve to be taken seriously. You deserve to be valued for who you are and the gift that you offer the world. And your needs, your wants, your desires are important. And I want you to embrace courage, even when your voice shakes and your teeth chatter, and that feeling of, oh my gosh, I feel really sick comes about. I want you to always embrace courage and speak your truth because you are important. You are important. I'm sending you so much love today and every day. I want you to continue to be fierce. I want you to continue to think fabulously. And I want you to continue to live a life that encourages you to be exactly who you are. Because you, my dear, are the gift. I'd love for you to leave a comment below. What's resonated with you in this episode? What's one thing that you're taking away? If you want to have a bit more of a personal conversation, you can reach out to me on Instagram, send me a DM, Vicky_Igbokwe. That's VICKI_IGBOKWE. Share this episode with someone that you believe could really benefit from it. And remember, you are enough. You are the gift to the world. And each and every day, I want you to speak your truth. Lots of love.